I'd like to welcome you on behalf of the Excellence in Agriculture Committee. A lot of people in this room are on the committee. Before you saw the pictures on the screen of the previous winners of the award. And tonight, this has been going on since 1966. So we have a lot of years of doing this. It's been a great event. It's kind of like the Oscars for us here at the City of Virginia Beach Agriculture, which is really good. We have a lot of special guests here tonight, which we truly appreciate everybody coming out. It's a wonderful evening. We finally got good weather. I don't know who brought it, maybe Steve Sturgis brought it from the Eastern Shore, but we finally got some great weather, which is always good. And with that said, we're going to have a wonderful evening. I'm going to invite the Honorable Mayor to come up here and help me out here and give us his thoughts, and then we will get the program started. Thank you. Please, everybody, welcome the Mayor.
Well, good evening. You know we have the Speaker of the House here in Virginia Beach tonight. Can you give Bill Howell a round of applause? He knew we're the greatest city in the world, and he had to come visit us. And he knew we had the greatest agricultural group in the world right here in Virginia Beach as well. But it really is my pleasure to be here tonight to celebrate excellence in agriculture and to honor the Virginia Beach Department of Agriculture for its continued support of Virginia Beach's agricultural industry and the education and promotion of agricultural programs. I also want to applaud Virginia Beach Excellence in Agriculture Award Committee for its hard work. In addition, the Virginia Air, Soil, and Water Conservation District is recognizing Ken Jessen of Deer Run Farms with the 2014 Clear Water Farm Award for Virginia Beach. And also, I'd like to welcome Matt Moore, who's been here before. We're delighted to have you, and we look forward to your speech later. You know, I must tell you that I really look forward to this event every year. I hope that you share with me, and I know you share with me because you all do this. You know, we should have a deep appreciation for agriculture because it's the essential role of agriculture that provides the necessities of everyday life. Think about it. It maintains our economy. It really does help our economy right here in Virginia Beach, the Commonwealth of Virginia, for that matter, across the country. And the economy in agriculture is growing, and also it's sustainable. It's important for all residents of Virginia Beach, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world to recognize that agriculture is responsible for just about everything we eat, wear, and use. Think about that. That's what you all do every day. Agriculture was Virginia's first industry, and Virginia Beach was founded by families who set down roots here, worked the land, and made us what we are today. We still have a very close-knit farming community, as I'm looking at them right now. And as an industry, agriculture contributes significantly to our economic vitality in Virginia Beach. In fact, we now have more than 28,000 acres in agricultural use, and agriculture had a $120 million economic impact on the city of Virginia Beach last year. That's a lot of money, folks, and I thank you for that. You know, it's also part of the reason why we established the city's Agricultural Reserve Program that is now recognized as the most successful one of its type in the country. Isn't that spectacular what we've got to accomplish here? Agriculture in our city is a very diverse business, consisting of various sized farm operations, including soybean, corn, and wheat farms, livestock farms, fruit and vegetable farms, farm stands, and let's not forget the equine industry, with an estimated 2,600 horses in the city. Let's not forget ag tourism business, where events like the Congo Strawberry Festival attract 170,000 people a year. I believe everybody in this room is aware that Virginia Beach is the #1 producer of strawberries in the state. And I sincerely hope, with all this weather, that you continue to be that way. But I'm keeping my fingers crossed for you. Also, our farmers market, numerous other farm stands, including those at our libraries, the Stanley Center, and Pick Your Own Farms provide citizens with locally grown, fresh food, and a wonderful sense of place in addition to generating money for our vital city services. I'd like to thank Dave Trimmer for everything. You know, Dave is the director of this wonderful organization that's being honored tonight, for everything, and he and his department, and they have the most wonderful people in that department. Give them a round of applause. He's a great director. Last but not least, I'd like to thank my friends, Barbara Hilling, over to my right, and Barry Knight, over here, right in front of me. These both are strong and effective advocates for farmers in our community, and they do a very good job for them. Will you recognize them? You also will find out we have a lot of other House of Delegates members here tonight, and I'll let Barry introduce them in a while, but, you know, it's funny how they show up when the speaker's here, isn't it? I think I'm getting it. But as I conclude, I want to sincerely thank each and every one of you for being a part of a very truly special city, and for what you all do to make sure that the city of Virginia Beach is truly the greatest city in the world. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Look out here, and I know that most everyone here recognizes the value of agriculture in Virginia Beach, and our state legislators know that agriculture and forestry is the leading industry by far in the state of Virginia. So all of us farmers and landowners and rural people, we are here, but we also see we have a lot of folks from the city that recognize how great our industry is. We've got a lot of people from the state that recognize how great our industry is also. Start out with my good friend, the Speaker of the House. He comes up from Fredericksburg area, Stafford, and Mr. Speaker, we really do appreciate you being here tonight, and thank you very much. And one of the main reasons he's here, I'd like to tell you, is just because I invited him, and that is the main reason. But a while ago, he just left from down the road at Town Center, and he named our own Ron Villanueva the brand new chairman of House Transportation Committee. So we're very, very proud of Ron being one of us, and that gives us a lot of clout here in Hampton Roads. So, Mr. Speaker, thank you for coming tonight. And I have a colleague of mine that has always asked me about farming and how farming goes on, and he's been with me down to my hog farm and everything, and he used to be in the House of Delegates. He decided to take a demotion. He went to the Senate, but I would like to introduce my good friend, John Cosgrove. John represents Creeds and Blackwater, actually from the Atlantic Ocean. He goes all the way to Franklin, so I thought I had a large district, but John's got to be. And we have another good friend of mine that is a delegate, but he wants to descend to the Senate also, but Bill DeSteffer, very glad you're here tonight, too. And we have Glenn Davis, and Glenn has 25% of Pungo. I've got 75% of it. He has Gene Hanson's horse farming in there, so Glenn has a lot of farms in his district also. So Glenn, thank you for being here tonight. And we've got, of course, our mayor, Will Sessoms. Thank you, Will, for being here tonight. We have Council Lady Rosemary Wilson. Rosemary, thank you for being here tonight. And we have our Council Lady that represents the Princess Anne District and most all farms down there, Council Lady Barbara Henley. Thank you. You see Sandy Adams over here. You're our Commissioner of Agriculture, aren't you? And thank you for coming. So that's a pretty big deal to have the Commissioner of Agriculture from the state come here. So Sandy, thank you for coming. And we are a great city because we've got a great city manager that recognizes the value. And in fact, I think many, many years ago, we recognized you as a friend of agriculture. City Manager Jim Spore, thank you. And being a delegate, I know how the city manager delegates, and he delegates to his deputy city manager, who is in charge of the agriculture department. And Doug Smith, thank you for being here. Okay, Bill, who have missed? Well, everyone else here is important to their farmers. Oh, I'm sorry. I got your name down here, Phil, but it's on the back of the top of the card. We've got Commissioner of Revenue, Phil Kellerman. Phil, thank you for being here. Thank you.
It's great to have Barry out there and take over a lot of things I was supposed to do, so that makes things a lot easier for me. I'd also like to recognize a few people. Again, I mentioned Steve Sturgis. He's the president of VDAC's Board of Agriculture and Consumer Services. Steve is a longtime supporter of ours down here. He comes down from the Eastern Shore. We've worked together when we needed specifics like a strawberry specialist. I really appreciate Steve. Steve Sturgis, thank you, sir. This is just about the city of Virginia Beach and our agriculture department. Because our agriculture department is made up of a couple of different things. We have our Virginia Tech Extension team with us, which is a major part of what we do. I'll have a slide presentation to show you later. It's 2 hours long, and you guys will look through it. A lot of it in here is about Virginia Tech. That is what the extension team does. So that just as important, we have as part of the extension team. Lonnie Johnson is down from Richmond, along with Doris Key. Lonnie is in charge of the district, and Doris is in charge of our extension team in the Southeastern District. And in much appreciation to them for coming out and supporting us. Thank you, thank you. I'd like to recognize Gail Mulletier from VDAC. She supports us on the marketing side, attends a lot of our functions. Gail's here tonight, much appreciation to Gail. I'm not sure where she's at sitting here. She's raised her hand. I would see. Hi, Gail. Thank you, thank you. Butch Johnson is the side also from the extension team in the Eastern Shore. Someone had to drive Steve down here, so I'm assuming Butch had that strong. Thank you, Butch, for coming. Another strong supporter of ours. With that, I guess the group and all the city council people here with the mayor, I mean, that's what makes us special, what we are. The support they give us. The Ag Advisory Group, Diane Worsley, John Cromwell, Mike Collifer, Arnold Golly, and Mark Fry are mostly all in attendance. Mike, as most of you know, is running late. I guess that's not a surprise to Mike. But yeah, but Mike's going to be here soon with his wife. With that said, I'm going to ask Don Worsley to come up here and help me out on the second phase, or the third phase is what we're doing.
By the time I'm finished, everybody in the room is going to be introduced. It's a pleasure for me to be here tonight, and I appreciate the comments that we've heard from our mayor and from Delegate Knight about the importance of agriculture. This is the backbone of our city, and it's kind of funny. Steve Sturgis told me a while ago, he says, I have to leave the county and come to the city to celebrate agriculture. And he says, y'all know how to do it. And I appreciate that comment, Steve, because we think we do a good job of putting agriculture in the forefront. And it's pretty indicative by the list of sponsors that we have that help sponsor our event, because if it wasn't for these sponsors, we wouldn't be able to do this affair that we do. We start off with Back Bay Boxes. I don't know whether Kelly and Leah are here tonight, Gentry. If they're here, we appreciate that. We'll just hold our applause for the sponsors till we finish. Bakery's Farm, Steve and Cindy Barnes. We appreciate y'all's support, Steve and Cindy. Bonnie Bright Sand, I don't think Bonnie's here. He's been a little under the weather lately, so he couldn't be here with us tonight. Colonial Farm Credit, Robbie Vaughn and his wife. She here tonight with me? He said she didn't make it, but Crazy Working Club, Billy Vaughn and Bernadette. They're over there on the far left. Colorful Farms, I know Lewis and Becky are here, and Mike and Jane and the rest of the Colorful clan will show up momentarily, but we appreciate their support. And Delegate Knight is always a sponsor to help us out. Delegate Glenn Davis, we appreciate you, Glenn. Glenn became a pretty good advocate for agriculture when he was on city council, and I think he remains to be that. And appreciate you and your wife being here tonight. Dominion Power, Max Bartholomew. Max, we couldn't turn the lights on without you, so we appreciate you being here tonight. Frank P. Williams Farms, I don't think Frank made it tonight, but we appreciate Frank's been one of the recipients way back in the 60s when this award first started, and he continues to support it. Hampton Road Sanitation District, Nutri-Greens Biosolids, Mr. Ted Hennepin. Is Ted here? He's not here? Okay, well, they're big supporters of us. Hoover Incorporated, Cliff Carr. Cliff, glad to have you with us. One of our implement dealers that's dealers in this area. Land of Promise Farms is the Horsley family, and y'all hold your hands up if Diane, Ryan, Shane, and Irene, y'all hold your hands up over there. M.M. Rollins Company, I don't think Marvin made it tonight, Marvin and Gail, but we appreciate their support. Kroger Strawberry, Dennis I saw Dennis there. Dennis right here in front of us. He and his wife are here. We appreciate that. Napa Auto Parts, Steve Simpson and Wander. Are they here? Okay, they haven't got here yet. Maybe they'll be late. Some people got it confused with tomorrow night. I understood. Salmon's Farm. We got Carter Williams representing Salmon's Farm. Carter? Where's Carter? Oh, yeah, Carter. Over here on my left. Okay, glad to have you with us. Town Bank, Lisa O'Neill and Mr. and Mrs. Hudgens here tonight representing Town Bank. Glad to have y'all with us. You need some money, go see Phil. Virginia Beach Airport, Mike Potter and Ed Dillingham, right over here. We appreciate y'all's support. We think that's a wonderful venue we have that going on down there. Virginia Beach Farm Bureau, Bobby and Karen Vaughn, glad y'all could be here tonight. Virginia Beach Police Livestock Show and Sale Committee, Kevin and Heather Newton, glad y'all could be here tonight with us too, Kevin and Heather. And last but not least, the Virginia Soil and Water Conservation District. We got Sally Griffin and Corey Hoare. Glad y'all could be here with us tonight. We appreciate y'all's support too. So let's give all of our sponsors a big hand.
Thanks, Bob. With that said, I'm going to ask Diane to come up and do the invocation, but I would like to recognize one of the table, maybe two, while we're on a roll here. I'd like to recognize Pete Schultz and our ARAC extension team for being here and taking part in this. Pete, I don't know where there you are, Pete, and your team. Thank you. Strong part of our community, and always been a good friend of mine. The next group, when we talk about where we're going and what the generation is doing in our youth, and we look around the tables, and we see the youngest table at table 16, and that's our 4-H team. And I'd like to recognize our 4-H team. It's good to be recognized. And Donna Plum, so over there. Thank you. With that, Diane, if you please. Thank you.
Let us pray. Loving God and the resources of the earth, you have given us riches for all humanity. We pray tonight for all who are involved in harvesting these resources in agriculture, horticulture, forestry, mining, and fisheries. Their work is often dangerous and for some encompassed with uncertainty through weather, pest, and disease. We pray for those whose livelihoods have been ruined by disease, falling prices, and by the shortcomings of disaster management. Help us to enable them to reflect on their future and chart their course with confidence. Also, we thank you, Father, for the rich variety of our food from many parts of the world. We pray for those who grow, prepare, and distribute the food we eat. As they try to achieve the impossible, grant to them a sense of their part in the poise and balance of all life. May they be diligent for our safety and for the quality of what they produce. We remember especially those who take part in the global trade in foodstuffs, linking producer with consumer the world over. We hold before you those who buy, often in ignorance of the hardships facing those who produce. We hold before you those who produce, often receiving little reward for their labor and their investment in land and equipment. And lastly, with certainty, loving God, we thank you for the enjoyment and pleasure we find in sharing food, in celebration and fellowship. Amen. At this time, would all current and previous excellence in agriculture recipients please exit to the hallway for the group picture. And Eileen, appears to be Eileen, okay, over here, she will begin calling tables by number for the buffet.
Our next process is part of the agenda is we are going to recognize the 2014 Special Award by Kenny Jensen. We're going to have Corey Hoare come up, please. Corey.
All right, well, I hope everybody's enjoying their day. Like David said, I thought it was really good too. The Clean Water Farm Award that Virginia Dairy gives out, I'll give you guys a little background on it. The Virginia Department of Conservation and Recreation is proud to sponsor the Clean Water Farm Award. Virginia farmers who implement nutrient management plans and are exemplary in the protection of the state's soil and water quality deserve recognition and thanks. These individuals are role models who encourage others' stewardship. Farmers spend time, energy, and hard-earned money, like you all know, carrying out conservation practices that benefit many people. They themselves benefit because nutrients, pesticides, and chemicals they invest in stay on the land, where they're most productive. The soil necessary to grow crops also stays put because of conservation planting techniques. When these potential pollutants are kept out of surface and groundwaters, citizens benefit by having better water for drinking, recreation, industry, wildlife, and transportation. This year for Virginia Beach, we wanted to recognize Ken Jensen. He was unable to make it tonight, but you can see Ken does a lot of cover crops on his land, and I got a picture of him holding this one. 2014 Clean Water Farm Award for Virginia Beach. The Virginia Dairy Soil and Water Conservation District would like to commend the following individual for utilizing certain farming practices that influence in a positive way the soil and water around them. For example, this individual has moved almost all of his cropland to no-till rotation it's about 460 acres of no-till corn, soybeans, and wheat. This individual has participated with FSA and Forest's buffer programs in protecting annual streams around their farm. This individual has also experimented with different cover crops such as tillage radishes and sunhead to loosen the soil and help with nitrogen fixation. We commend this producer for doing most of these things on their own without any technical assistance from the district or NRCS. The Virginia Dairy Soil and Water Conservation District would like to congratulate Ken Jensen as the winner of the Virginia Beach Clean Water Farm Award. So, Bill, come up here. Got a plaque signed by the chairman of DCR and the governor. And we also have this sign. Thank you.
There's one part I wanted to cover that I think was skipped. And again, the importance of our sponsors and what they do for this event. Like Don said, it just can't be taken lightly. We missed one in our sponsorship. And oddly enough, I used to work for Southern States Cooperative, and I know the board's here. So I want to recognize Chesapeake Southern States Cooperative and David Dutton for what they did as a sponsor. They've been in Chesapeake Cooperative for a lot of the stuff we do. Also in Chesapeake, but also in Virginia Beach. So I applaud David. He's new to the, you've been here about what, a year, David? 6 months? Okay, I gave you 4 months. So, but anyway, but he came from the, out of Petersburg, and an important addition to our local team. So I wanted to recognize David. With that, I'm going to bring up Mr. Barry Knight.
the format of what we're going to do, Excellence in Agriculture, and we're going to recognize the Department of Agriculture for Virginia Beach, which a lot of us don't want to call it Princess Anne County. We know it started a long, long time ago. We got a House Joint Resolution that we did, and the House Joint Resolutions, they're voted on and they're passed. They're actually a piece of legislation that's passed by the House and then passed by the Senate. And this year, with the session, this being so close to the session, we had it framed, but we don't have it yet. So we have this, but we've got a framed copy coming that they will present to you shortly and get you to hang it where you feel is appropriate. But I'd like to read it. In its House Joint Resolution number 826, committing the City of Virginia Beach Department of Agriculture, it was agreed to by the House of Delegates February 20th, 2015, agreed to by the Senate February 25th, 2015. And it goes, whereas the City of Virginia Beach Department of Agriculture has promoted the importance of agriculture in Virginia Beach and the former Princess Anne County and diligently served the region's farmers and agribusiness professionals, and whereas officially established to serve Princess Anne County under H.W. Osmond, the City of Virginia Beach Department of Agriculture traces its deepest roots to the farmers who first tended the land in the Virginia colonies and established farming and agriculture as a cornerstone of the Commonwealth's economy. The organization took its current name in 1963 when Virginia Beach and Princess Anne County merged to form the City of Virginia Beach. And whereas with more than 29,000 acres of crops, fruits, and vegetables and pastures, agriculture is the third largest industry in Virginia Beach, representing more than $100 million in the local economy. The region's diverse agricultural industry accounts for the production of food, clothing, fuel, and other products. And whereas the City of Virginia Beach Department of Agriculture provides leadership, coordination, and education to the region's farmers and agribusiness professionals, works to preserve and enhance the region's resources and environment, and encourages members of the public to take an active role as stewards of the region's agricultural heritage. Whereas in 1976, the City of Virginia Beach Department of Agriculture established the Virginia Beach Farmers Market, a year-round market offering fresh local produce and products that hold 16 annual events and seasonal Friday night throwdowns. Whereas in addition to H.W. Osler, the City of Virginia Beach Department of Agriculture has benefited from the able leadership of 4 directors throughout its history, including Dick Cockrell, Lewis Collier, Jack Whitney, and David Trimmer. And whereas to better serve the public, the Virginia Beach Agricultural Advisory Commission was established in 1994, and the Agricultural Reserve Program was established in 1995. The ARP has preserved more than 9,000 acres of local farmland through conservation easements to ensure continued access to the region's valuable agricultural resources. Now therefore be it resolved by the House of Delegates, the Senate concurring, that the General Assembly hereby commend the City of Virginia Beach Department of Agriculture for its many years of work to promote, protect, and advance agribusiness in the region. And be it resolved further that the Clerk of the House of Delegates prepare a copy of this resolution for presentation to the City of Virginia Beach Department of Agriculture as an expression of the General Assembly's admiration for its long tradition of service to the community. And we had every single legislator that represents Virginia Beach sign on, House patrons, myself, Loxton, Lynn Davis, Bill DeStep, Joe Lindsay, Chris Stoller, Scott Taylor, and Ron Villanueva, and our 3 senators, John Cosgrove, Jeff McWaters, and Frank Wagner. So on behalf of the House and the Senate, Dave Trimmer, if you would come forward and accept this, and we'll get you a framed copy. Congratulations.
I'd like to say thank you again to the guys, Dick Cockrell, Lewis Collier, Jack Whitney. They set the stage for this. Again, this is not just the City of Virginia Beach Ag Department. It's Jim Spoor, Doug Smith, all of you out there, the city council. It's our Virginia Tech extension team that works so hard. It's all about the work in the ag advisory, all of you. So I'm basically accepting this for you guys. It's great to be recognized by the peer group, the Excellence in Agriculture Committee. Much appreciation to everybody. It's really important because the world I came from, you take nothing for granted. So it's great to be recognized. That you can be high one day, up on a high level, and the next day you could be looking for a job. So in this realm, it's good to see we're in a sustainable industry, and everybody is a wonderful event like this. So with that being said, I have a slideshow to show you. So just a couple things, and I will be quick, but it does show you the importance of all the people involved. The picture obviously is of Roy Flanagan. Again, it's showing the pesticide recycling. It's going through, we pesticide recycled containers, 1,931 pounds this year. We have 30, like the mayor said earlier, we are the largest strawberry growing area in the state. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but I think it's 32 acres, and I think the state, Gail, I don't know where Gail's at, but I think we're 253 throughout the state, maybe something like that. So it shows you we're 32 of the 253 acres. The next slide show, I want to talk a little bit about the clubs. We have 13 clubs. Aaron's not here tonight. Aaron Menschenhofer runs our 4-H team. We have 4-H had 385 volunteers, 329 adults, and 56 youth. And when you couple that with what Chesapeake does and other surrounding communities, it shows you the importance and the viability of what our 4-H is and about our leaders of 4-H. Again, 13 clubs, 385 total volunteers. Where do they go? We go down to 4-H camp. We go down to the 4-H center in Wakefield. 167 campers are going down, coming up. 49 teen counselors. So the teens play an active role. My daughter went last year. Loved it. Can't wait to go back this year, and she will. Again, that's 216 participants. The Ham Project. Cal's here. Cal Sheeman's here. Roy's a part, is now taking over those realms. The program is gone. It's 4-H curing at hams. We're curing 246 hams. Glenn bought one last year, I believe. Or maybe 2 years in a row, I don't remember. And we do it at the 4-H show and sale in Memorial Day weekend, or the weekend after Memorial Day weekend. We're going to go to our Master Gardener group. Unbelievable. Fran is here, the president of the Master Gardeners. 251 active members of the Virginia Beach Master Gardeners. The help desk, the things they do volunteering at the farmer's market. Really a strong, wonderful program that gives us sustainability on that side. Again, another Virginia Tech extension program. Let's shift you to a couple ideas of what we started. 2 years ago, we started working with Gene Daniels on Wednesday nights doing a live produce auction. There's only 2 in the state, and we have one of them here at Virginia Beach. It gives our farmers the opportunity, if they have surplus product, to sell locally, and it's sold to a varying group of people sold like John Cromwell does it, baskets. So it's a take-home product for an individual that's cooking for a smaller group. We get a lot of church groups come out, we get food banks come out, we get restaurants come out. So a very active program on Wednesday nights. We go to Why Not Wednesday. And I look at Mr. Spore. We approached him with this 7 years ago. He looked at us and he thought this probably not going to work. And he said, well, let's give it a shot. And I told him that I was brand new, and I said, I haven't failed at nothing yet. Because I just got here, so it didn't really matter. Why Not Wednesday? First year, we had 300 people. We thought we killed it. We thought it was a great night. We had 700. We thought, where can this go? We had 3 farmers taking part and an ancillary group of ag-related vendors set up. We did 31,000 people visited that event. It goes from first Wednesday in June to the last Wednesday in August. This last year, 2014, I was told we had 50,000 people visit that venue. Live music, very clean, friendly environment at the Sandler Center. It supports a great cause, being music education for our younger people. Really a good program. I know a lot of you have gone. Wonderful program. 2 years ago, we're going into our 3rd year. We started out with 2 libraries. We put a farm stand in each library, 1 day a week. It morphed into 2 days a week. We were there from 10 to 2, focusing in June July and August are when the reading programs go for young families. Parents would come, bring their children there to take part in reading programs. Now they could interact and shop and buy from fresh local produce. We did 2 libraries that year. This past year we did 2 more. We had 4 libraries to take part in this. We're getting ready now to add a Williams Farm. We're going to do a rec center. They want to try it. And it's really, we're going to run out of farmers eventually, but it allows us to go after the so-called food deserts where people don't have the ability to have access to fresh fruits and vegetables. And it allows our farmers, and Lewis and Mike and some of our others, Tom Baker can say their interaction and talking about what the farmer does goes a long way. Mrs. Henley's son has got one of our libraries also. I mean, it's a really neat program. Kempsville, Central, Bayside, Princess Anne. The Flanagans also have one of our, been with us. Next one I'm going to touch on is Farmers Market, Rural Heritage Center. We focus on K-5 program. Terry Belko does a wonderful job. K-5, think about that. The number of kids we run through that program. We're on target to run 2,300 children through that ag education. We're introducing these young kids, again, K-5, to what agriculture is about. They take away simple ideas, realizing milk doesn't just come from Food Line or Harris Teeter. It actually comes from a plastic cow, but in our case, that's all we've got there. But we do a whole program, and it is just taken off. Now we don't even have to go out and solicit schools. They're calling us. We have, I think one we had was all hands on deck. We just got volunteers. We had 171 kids come through a one-day period. Great program, lots of growth, wonderful program. I'm going to touch on the sign program. How do we market what we do for our department? Extension team, city team, Virginia Dare. We use social media. We use word of mouth. We use we do our own print media. Headed up by all our team, Keith Stark, Becky Salmons, Jenny, Jill. Everybody chips in, working together to get the word out. Barbara always is helping us out when you misspell words or whatever. It doesn't sound right. We got to make sure everybody gets it. And our programs we're going to have 16 major programs this year. Again, the hoedown on Friday nights. We'll start April 1st. We'll go all the way to Halloween. We'll put Friday before Halloween, which is October 3rd. When you see those crowds, young and old now, they come out and listen to music. They start getting here about 3:30 and after. We don't start by 6:30 or 7. But the people want their spots in line. They're going to enjoy the evening. We're blessed with good weather most of the time, so it's kind of cool night. You don't have nothing to do one night, you should come out. With that being said, Ag Reserve program. Jenny McPherson heads up our Ag Reserve program. 9,223 acres. We just put another 46 in today, I believe. Went on the books, so obviously we'd like to get to 20,000 acres. We've got to get to 10,000 first. So great program. There's a lot of ARP people in this room, and you guys understand the value, and it's a way to have sustainability to agriculture. It's the way to protect that land and help protect that land for future generations. And we've got a lot of young farmers in here, and which is always positive. With that, I am going to turn it over to Mr. Knight. Again, much appreciation for this. This is really important to the city, really important to Extension. Becky's pointing at me, and I can't hear her.
Video?
Oh, yeah, you want to do a video. I'm sorry. I'm going to put Mr. Knight on hold for a second. Do I have to do anything?
No.
That's what I really like. This video is a very good video. It talks about the future of Virginia Beach. Please.
I can see for miles. My city is Virginia Beach, my home, and it is growing. Growing fast. My pop-pop says that it is going to keep growing, just like me, and I'm part of it.
Virginia Beach has been growing and changing since incorporated in 1963. Citizens have enjoyed our unique location, beaches, waterways, natural settings, and lifestyle. By 2040, we are recognized as the most livable coastal community in the world, embracing our natural environment, cultural diversity, and in a well-planned community. More than 600,000 people will call it home. To create our community of the future takes vision, and we have one. All of us have a part in making it happen. In 2040, Virginia Beach is a vibrant place to live, learn, work, raise a family, and prosper. There is a dynamic business growth and a workforce to meet the needs of a changing world. Research, alternative energies, and defense-related industries have grown. Farms continue to be key economic drivers, providing an abundant and sustainable food supply. Our neighborhoods provide a variety of safe, affordable housing. We are connected by walking paths, bike trails, and an integrated transportation system meeting the needs of everyone. Our active lifestyle is enhanced by the natural beauty of our city and the wide variety of cultural and recreational opportunities. Citizens of all ages thrive with access to lifelong learning opportunities and affordable quality health care. Visitors are welcome, and we are an international tourist and business destination. They enjoy our beaches and value the wide assortment of arts and culture, recreational entertainment, and numerous festivals and outdoor venues. In 2040, Virginia Beach is the most livable coastal community. Rich natural resources, interconnected neighborhoods, wide-ranging learning, social, cultural, and recreational offerings, a thriving regional economy, and vibrant tourism. I can't wait. Join us in making the 2040 vision a reality.
People are going to live here. Great for all of us. Think about the ag. Think about buy fresh, buy local. Think about eating products that we grow locally. That's what this is all about. Great place to live, wonderful environment, great friends, great evening like this. With that, very nice.
The committee got together this year and they decided that they wanted to have this particular format. We were looking for a keynote speaker, and the first name that always comes to our mind is Matt Lohr. And I have the honor to introduce Matt. And when y'all sent me to the House of Delegates 7 years ago, the speaker told me, he said, we have one farmer in the General Assembly, his name is Delegate Matt Lohr, and you and he are going to get along very well. Well, of course, I think y'all probably know I had to set my GPS to find out how to get to Richmond. And I was a little bit nervous when I got there. And as soon as I got there, Matt came on over, told me who he was. He said, I'm the only other farmer up here. Now we've just doubled our numbers. So, when Bob McDonnell got to be governor, he asked me to be on the interview committee for the Secretary of Agriculture. And I went to Matt, and I said, Matt, would you like your name to be considered? And he said, I have some family situations at home, and timing isn't right for me. So when we made our recommendation of Todd Haymore, who was turned out to be a great Secretary of Agriculture, I told the governor, I said, we need Matt Lohr for Commissioner of Agriculture. And he needs to take a little time on some situations there, and he needs to be Commissioner of Agriculture. Well, it was probably a few months later, Matt came to me and said, I've got some good news for you, and maybe not some good news for you. And I said, what's that, Matt? He says, well, the governor has just named me Commissioner of Agriculture. And I said, congratulations. What's the other news? He said, I need a place to stay in Richmond, and you're going out of session. I know you have a condo. So I said, Matt, here are the keys, you know. And I'm going to tell you, he's pretty neat, because I never even knew he was there, so he did a pretty good job. But Matt, he was a wonderful delegate. He was a great farmer. Now he works with Farm Credit, with business development. He's getting ready to get married here, and he's going to have a blended family of 6. And where I come from, Matt, that's darn near a litter, so that's pretty good. So you're going to do pretty good. And one other story they like to tell about Matt is Matt and Sal Quinto, they're not real big fellas. We've got the biggest guy in the General Assembly, or was for a while, is Todd Gilbert. They were driving down I-95 late one night, and the car ran out of gas. So the big guy stays in the car, and Sal or Todd are pushing the car down I-95 because he ran out of gas. So if you ever need someone to go off with you late at night running low on gas, Matt Lohr is your name. Matt, thanks for coming.
Gary. Good evening, my friends. What a great pleasure it is to be with you here again in Virginia Beach. And I haven't thought about that story of Sal and I pushing that vehicle down I-95 in a long time. But it's great to be here with you tonight. What an honor to celebrate Virginia Beach agriculture. I love the video as we talk about where we've been in our heritage, but more importantly, we talk about where we're going from here. And that's really the essence of what we're doing here tonight, is to celebrate agriculture in Virginia Beach and make sure that we're going to continue to grow and succeed and prosper. I have a 9-year-old son at home named Carson. I think he said it best last summer. We were out on our front porch. I was watering some flowers, and he came running outside, swung the front door wide open, just talking and yelling about everything, and left the door open, and all the bugs and flies were zooming in the house. And I said, Carson, close the door. You're going to let every fly in the world come into our house. And he looked up at me and said, well, not the ones from China. I said, what do you mean, son, not the ones from China? And he said, well, technically, Dad, it would take about 3 weeks for the flies from China to get here, so relax. I have plenty of time to close the door. Well, I hope that you all have a chance tonight to really just relax and embrace each other's friendship and fellowship and the good food and just the camaraderie of all of you being here tonight to celebrate Virginia Beach agriculture. And I tell you, it's so exciting for me to have a chance to come here. I think I spoke here 3 or 4 years ago, Barry, and had a chance to see so many familiar faces tonight. And gosh, I tell you, when you look at the folks that are here, especially the special guests are here, it says a lot about this industry and how much the folks here appreciate it. When you look at the mayor and the speaker of the house and all the Barry and all of his fellow legislators, and Sandy Adams over here, my former deputy commissioner at PDIX, and now doing a great job as commissioner, and folks in Extension and Farm Bureau, and all across the Commonwealth who are traveling here tonight to be with you, just to recognize the importance of agriculture. And David, congratulations to you and the entire department on such a great honor. Again, when I was commissioner, I had a chance to work with David on a lot of issues, and he was always looking at new ideas and ways to improve it here at the city. And some of them were a little off the wall, but he was always excited and dynamic, and obviously the success has paid off. So would you please join me one more time and give David and the entire department here a Now, y'all been sitting for a little while, so I want to stimulate your brain a little bit. When you just clap your hands right now, think for a second, how many of you clapped with your right hand over your left hand? Raise your hands at a time. Okay, about half of you. How many clap with the left hand over the right hand hands at a time? How many are still trying to figure out which hand is which? Various blank looks out there. I read recently they did this sophisticated study on the way people clap their hands, and they concluded that people that clap with the right hands over the left hand are the really great thinkers of our society. Anybody agree with that? Great thinkers? All right. Now, they also concluded that people that clap with the left hand over the right hand are the really good-looking people of our society. I mean, agree with that. Now, I have to say, I saw a few folks out there kind of clapping back and forth both ways. They just think they're good-looking. What I want you to do for me real quick is I want you to give David and his team one more big round of applause, but this time, instead of clapping the same way you always do, switch your hands over for a second and clap the opposite way for me. Would you? Opposite way. Some of you can see the looks on your faces are like, how many thought that felt kind of strange? A little weird. You know, as human beings, we become creatures of habit, don't we? We become very comfortable in the way that we go about living our life and just the routines we get in and the food we eat and the clothes we wear and the things that we do, we become very comfortable with that. And whenever we're challenged to try something different or look at things in a new way, by nature, we don't like it because it feels weird. But see, that's the way we grow and we become better and we thrive, is by taking those risks and accepting those challenges and trying those new things, even though it may feel strange at first. And soon a new habit will form, and then it begins to feel pretty normal. That's really been the backbone of agriculture, not only here in Virginia Beach, but all across the Commonwealth. It's that ability to step out of that comfort zone and try new things and embrace change. And that's the spirit that's made this industry what it is today. I want to take a few minutes tonight and talk about a lasting legacy and kind of take a look at where we've been in our past, but more importantly, how that foundation that's been laid by our forefathers, how that translates into a foundation, a blueprint of success for the future. Just when you look here. What do I need to aim?
The bottom. Just push the bottom button.
keep us in the farm credit, another thing. But. All right, well, I'll go ahead and keep talking here. So, basically, I want to talk a little bit about the heritage that we've had, and I'm very fortunate to come. I'm a fifth-generation farmer of a farm back in the Shenandoah Valley in Rockingham County, and my son Carson is very, very proud of that heritage, that family history. In fact, this summer we were out fishing down at the river, and he accidentally got a fishing hook framed in his hand, and we had to go to one of those emergent care places. And you know, you ever been to one of those, the first thing they do is they sit you down in the room and they start asking you all the questions, you know, and get your insurance and all that stuff. And my son's here holding his hand, bleeding, and they're like saying, we got to ask about some family history. And it was so funny when the nurse said it's really family history that we need to know about. My son perked up and he said, yes, ma'am, my daddy over there is a fifth-generation farmer, and one day I'm going to be the sixth. And I love that, because to a young child, he thought that was the important family history that this nurse needed to know. Here we go, thank you. But that heritage is so important, and that heritage is what has laid the foundation for us and where we go from here. This is a picture of Carson and my dad and myself that was taken at our farm back at Christmas time, and it talks about the definition of what that heritage is. All right, thank you very much. And by definition, you can see on the screen, it's our traditions and our achievements and our beliefs that are part of history, but more importantly, are handed down from generation to generation. I want to share just a couple. It was great. I think I've got the wrong touch. Oh, there we go. I don't know which one I hit, but I hit one of them. All right, we'll just keep talking and we'll keep hitting them there. So anyway, these are just a few pictures of the family that I come from, and just the importance that my father and grandfather and all those behind me have laid to make agriculture successful. And I love these pictures of one on the far left is my dad holding me when I was about 2 years old on his lap with his favorite John Deere tractor. And he continued that even with my children today. In the middle, my daughter Caroline, when she was just a year old, in the chicken house. And on the right, I love this picture of my son Carson, again, fishing at the pond, and it was cold that afternoon. And as we were leaving, my dad took his sweatshirt off and put it over top of him, coming down to his feet almost, and they're walking. And I stood behind him and I took this picture. It was just so powerful because my son, who was just 2 years old at the time, raising his hand up in the air, and my dad was literally taking his hand and kind of leading him. And that really symbolizes what agriculture is about, isn't it? From one generation to the next is so very, very important. So the story of agriculture is very bright. We've had a bright past, but more importantly, we have a very bright future. And I want to take just a few minutes tonight and talk to you about what are some things that we can do within agriculture to help make sure that it will continue to prosper and continue to be successful for those next generations coming on. I apologize, I still don't know which button I'm hitting. All right, so the first thing that we need to do is we have to look around, and that's why I love seeing these young folks here tonight. I know there's some young farmers here, we've got the 4-H students here, is we've really got to make sure that we embrace and encourage that next generation. Now, how many of you have ever been involved in showing livestock of any kind? Anybody? I see the whole 4-H table goes up. So for me, a big part of my background growing up was showing sheep and showing hogs and showing steers. And when my daughter Caroline turned 9 years old, she was old enough to join 4-H and show lambs. And Carson was so jealous because you have to be 9 years old in our county to show at the county fair. So when Caroline got her lambs, Carson was only 4 and stood on the sidelines every single year and just wanted to be old enough that he could get his own lamb and show at our county fair. And for year after year. Well, last year, Carson was finally old enough to show. And this is a picture here, Carson and his lamb, Edward. Go back. See, now these people are smart enough. They're clicking it for me now. Thank you. So Carson and his lamb, Edward. Now, Carson got his lamb in early spring. The show was in August, and he spent the entire spring and the entire summer working so hard to make sure this lamb was going to be perfect for the fair. Feeding it every day, washing it, training it, sleeping with it, you name it. For all these months, he was ready. Now, it came time at the county fair in mid-August that there was a class of about 12 young 4-H members. They were the novice showmen. They were ready to go into the ring and show their lamb for the very first time. Carson was excited. I mean, he was ready. So one of the key things when you exhibit livestock is it's very important for the showmanship class that you always want to make sure that you keep your eye on the judge. That's the most important thing. Wherever the judge goes, you need to make sure your eyes are on him. So Carson had this down pat. Now, this particular day is the the members were ready to go into the show ring, there were two gentlemen in the ring. There was the judge who was over here in that corner watching. And then over here in this corner was his ringman, his assistant named Charlie, that was kind of guiding them in the ring and showing them where to go. So Carson was the first one in the ring in his class. And he walks in the ring, and the first person he sees is Charlie, the ringman over here in the corner. He locks his eyes on Charlie, and he does not take them off. I mean, everywhere Charlie went around that ring, Carson was glued. I mean, he was going everywhere, staring at Charlie. Charlie go this way, Charlie go that way. Carson was right there on him. It really freaked him out a little bit. This little kid staring at him, like crazy. Well, meanwhile, the judge is doing his thing, and Carson never even saw that the judge was in the room. In fact, the highlight of the show is when the judge actually comes around and they actually feel each member's land and talk to him. When the judge comes around to see Carson, he turns his back to the judge so he can stare at Charlie. And you can imagine the crowd, when they saw what was going on, they just started laughing. And I just started laughing because I realized in that moment that I spent all summer teaching Carson what to do. But I forgot the most important thing, and that's I forgot to teach him and show him who to follow. You see, it's so important in life to make sure that we're following the right thing, the right person, the right examples. And we have an opportunity as leaders in the community to make sure that we're helping this next generation, to show them, to mentor them, encourage them. Especially, I love seeing the slide, David, of all the 4-H members and clubs you have and the volunteers, hundreds of people that are willing to reach out and help and mentor this next generation. And so 4-H members in the back, thank you so much for being here and for your love of this industry. And as a community here at Virginia Beach, I hope that you will continue to mentor and show them. And if you do, that's going to be the next generation of agriculturalists for the city of Virginia Beach, and that's so very exciting. Second thing I want to share with you tonight is we have to be able to learn to realize that if you're involved in agriculture, there's going to be some tough times, and there's going to be some hardships. And the way that we can truly overcome that is we have to have tremendous determination and perseverance. Can I put the slide for me? Thank you. I'm getting it down pat now. So one of the activities I love to do when I get a group of people together is I say, okay, everybody, I'm going to gather around. I'm going to give you a letter of the alphabet from A to Z, like a card that's in my hand, and I'm going to get a letter, turn it over. When I say go, you're going to take your letter and stand up. You're going to go around the room as fast as you can and form as many words as you can with the letter that you're given. So if you have a C and you have an A and you have a T, you form the word cat. Each time you help to form a word, you get a point. Everybody keeps track of their words. You go around the room in 5 minutes and see how many words you can form. And at the end, bring everybody back and see who had the most. And when I do this with middle school students, they get really excited, especially with the big old bag of candy, right? Candy does a lot of things for middle school students. And when I explain this game, they are so excited. They're like, man, Matt, this is the greatest game I've ever seen. Give me the letter. I can't wait, man. This is awesome. I'm going to win. I love you. You're awesome. They're like really, really excited. So I give them the cards, and I say, go, and they take their letter, and they turn it over. And half the people jump up, and they start running around, and they're excited. But the other half, they kind of stop. And they look at their letter, and then they get this really angry look on their face. And they're like, this is the stupidest game I've ever seen in my entire life. This is dumb. It's crazy. You're ugly, man. There's no way we can do this. You gave me a crappy letter, man. It's dumb. And they start complaining, and they always wrap up by saying it's not fair. How many parents do you ever hear that at home? It's not fair. I love it when I hear that. Because I stop them right there and I say, you know what? You're exactly right. This game is not fair. Obviously, some letters are going to form better words than others, but it really kind of sums up what life is all about. Because wouldn't you agree that life is not really fair either? There are some people that are given perfect letters, perfect hands, everything. They're wealthy, they're smart, they're athletic. They've got all the goodness of the world handed to them on a silver platter. It's nothing that they've done or deserved. It's just the way life is. But there's a lot of people in life, you may know, that are born with struggles and disabilities and handicaps and addictions and all of those things that embrace their life. Again, it's not fair, but it's just the way life is. But the good news is that life really is not about the hand you're given. That doesn't determine your success. It's the ability you have to be determined, to have faith, and to have perseverance. I was doing this activity out in Seattle, Washington for a group. It was a junior American Paint Horse convention, about 100 young people, and we were going around the room and finding letters, and everybody sat back down. We were going around to see who found the most words, and a young lady in the back was so excited she found 22 words. And when we asked her what letter she held up the letter Q, just like I had in my hand. And everybody's like, man, that's impossible. There's not even 22 words in the dictionary that have a Q in it. How in the world? And she said, well, I didn't really like the letter Q, but I discovered that if I put my thumb just so, I turned my Q into the letter O. Be smart. Somebody else once found 18 words with the letter Z. Now, if you're playing this, Z is not the best letter, but they just turned it over. Now the Z became the letter N. Although a little chubby, still says the letter N. Somebody else found 18 words with the letter X. Again, this is not the letter you really want to have, but just so, and now your X becomes the letter Y. See, it's not the letter you're getting that determines your success. It's what you do with it. Now, if you're ever sitting around with your friends on a Saturday night and you're kind of bored and you say, hey guys, I got an idea, let's break open some ABC cards. If you did that, it would be very weird. But if you did that, the one letter you would always want to have is the letter S, just like the one in my hand, because all you would have to do is go around and make everything plural, right? Cats, dogs, take a share. Find 30 words with the letter S. So I was down in Texas doing a conference for a student group of young leaders, and the president of this group, who was 18 years old, his name was Robert. I'll never forget him. Robert had everything in the world going for him. 6'2", very handsome, good looking, had money, had family name, dressed to a T. All the girls were falling at his feet, had everything in the world going for him. But Robert was probably the most arrogant young man I have ever met in my entire life. It just dripped off of him. He had it, and he knew it, and he was going to tell you about it. So when we did this activity, I intentionally gave him the letter S, just to kind of see how he would respond. And he said, go, and I kind of watched him as he walked around doing the activity, and he kind of strutted around and stopped in the mirror a couple times and checked his hair, and smiled at a couple of the young ladies, and sat back down. And when I asked him how many words he found with the letter S, he said, 1. Do you know people like that in life sometimes that seem to have the perfect hand given to them, and they sit back and they waste it? They're lazy, they make poor choices, and they squander the opportunities that life has afforded them. My friends, life is not about the letter you're given or the circumstances that surround your life. Life is all about what you do with it. And you can be given a Q or an X and become tremendously successful if you are determined and you have the perseverance. Now, if you flip the screen for me, you may remember, for those of you that were here when I came and spoke about 4 years ago, it was right about the time on the screen that my wife, Andrea, had just passed away. Andrea is one of the greatest, most amazing women that I've ever known in my entire life. We met at an FFA conference in high school. She was beautiful from the state of Kentucky. She even had all of her teeth. I mean, it was amazing. Love at first sight. We got married right out of college, and we were married for 15 years before, back in 2011, she lost a 5-year battle with breast cancer. And you know, it's amazing. Andrea was the kind of person that touched so many lives. In fact, at her funeral, we had the governor, attorney general, Barry Knight was there. I mean, a lot of dignitaries came. 2,000 people showed up at her funeral that day to pay their respects. She had a blog where she did a lot of writing and speaking and had a lot of followers. Over 100,000 people around the country were following her journey and her story. And right before she passed away, our church, where I go, Harrisburg Baptist Church, was looking at doing an expansion project. They were looking at what to call this expansion project. They named it the Andrea Lord Legacy Center. I've known a lot of people that have had a stretch of road or a bridge named after them, but never met anybody that got a church named after them. And Andrea was that kind of person. And I remember, right after she passed away, I can honestly say that, talk about feeling like somebody had given you the worst letter of the world. I mean, it was truly at the lowest point of my life. And I'll never forget the day that we laid Andrea to rest, and that night I was putting my children to bed. And I remember tucking my daughter Caroline in, and she looked up at me and she said, "What's next, Dad? What's next?" And I remember being in that very moment, and honestly what I wanted to do was to run and be scared and complain and cry and want to give up. But I knew when I looked at my 2 children that night that what was next was me pulling up my britches and saying, we're going to make this work, and have that determination and the faith and relying on family and friends and so many people that rallied around our family And Sandy I was commissioner at the time, and Sandy was my deputy, and her and the entire team rallied around me, and they provided so much support and guidance, and it got me through those very, very dark moments. See, I talk about life not being fair, and I've experienced it firsthand, but the reason I share that with you tonight is not to make anybody sad, and not to kind of bring a damper to the evening, but I want to share that life is actually pretty good, because 4 years later, you would flip the screen for me, 4 years later, life has certainly taken on a brand new look, and my beautiful fiancée Beth is here with me tonight. Beth and I met about a year ago, and she brings so many great qualities to our relationship, especially 4 kids, y'all, 4. And I had 2, so we are officially the modern-day Brady Bunch of 8 getting married on June the 13th, and I can tell you that life is pretty good again. Now, most people see this picture and they think, oh man, it's perfect, all the kids get along, they're great, they're standing there smiling, they're loving each other and hugging each other, and everything's perfect. And if you flip the next slide there, you'll see that this is really what it looks like. There's always a little bit of calm right in the middle. Beth and I kind of in the very middle, and then around us, it's just chaos. I mean, 6 kids running in every direction, and this sport and that sport, and it's pretty crazy. But it's pretty beautiful too. It's beautiful chaos. And I share that with you because 4 years ago, at my lowest point, I could have never imagined that there would come a day when I could feel this happy again and experience this much joy in life again. But it happened. And so my challenge for you is that when life throws you those curveballs, and if you're involved in agriculture especially, you're going to see a lot of curveballs, droughts and weathers and commodity prices and diseases and all of those things. In fact, if you're doing anything in life, you're going to experience those hardships. But the final thing I want to share with this that I want to wrap up with tonight that is such a beautiful story that I love sharing is because in those moments when you find yourself at your lowest point, I really want to encourage you to realize that we are all part of a plan that is so much bigger than who we are. We are part of a plan that has such great purpose. And although when we're in the middle of that storm and there's so much chaos going around, there's no way we can see it. But if we have that faith and that determination to persevere and realize, I promise you at some point you will look back on that event and you will see why it happened and you'll see the good from that event. Now, before Andrea passed away, one of her favorite analogies was the butterfly. She loved the butterfly for what it represented, the resurrection, the symbolism, the new beginning. And so she told our kids before she passed away that any time in life they saw a butterfly, she wanted to remind them that was her, that was coming back to kind of check on them. And so butterflies have always been very important to our family. In our house, we've got butterfly magnets and pictures on the wall. And anytime we've been out and we've seen a butterfly, Carter's like, hey, there's Mom. And there were people kind of staring a little bit. Butterflies have always been a really big deal. Well, when Beth and I started dating, I guess it was about a month or so into our relationship, we were at dinner one night, and she started talking about a time several years ago, and she didn't know about the butterfly connection in our family, but she started telling a story one night about a time years ago when she was visiting her parents' house. It was on a beautiful, sunny summer afternoon, and she said they were outside in the yard playing, and this butterfly, out of the blue, came and landed on her daughter, Sophia. Would you flip it? Yeah. That's the picture there. She said this butterfly out of the blue came and landed on Sophia. And she's like, it was the craziest thing because there were a lot of people around and the butterfly would only come to Sophia. She was, I think, 2 or 3 years old at the time. There were lots of kids and lots of adults. She said it was so cool. She took some pictures and she took a video. And she's like, it was cool. In about an hour and a half or so, the butterfly stayed with Sophia. And then in about an hour and a half, it disappeared. And they never saw it again. And she was telling me this, not knowing our experience with the butterfly. And it was a really, really cool story. And so I was kind of sharing with her about our experiences and all. So months and months passed. And I guess it was probably 2 or 3 months ago, I was at work one day, and the phone rang, and it was Beth, and she was so excited. And she said, remember the time I told you about the butterfly story in Sophia? She said, remember I told you that I took videos and I took pictures? She said, I just found it on my computer. I was going through some files, and I found it. She said, it was so cool. And so I wasn't able to load the video tonight. It's on my Facebook page if you want to check it out, but it's really, really cool. And so we were talking back and forth, and I asked her, I said, so do you remember when this actually happened? And she looked on the timestamp, and you can see there, it said February 14th, 2011. And I just stopped in my tracks. And she said, what's wrong? And I said, well, February 14th, July 14, 2011. And she's like, what's wrong? And I said, well, July 14, 2011 was the exact day that Andrea had her funeral. And the crazy thing is, you see right below that on the screen, it says the time was 1:01 p.m. She said, I took this picture right after the butterfly landed on Sophia. And Andrea's funeral that day started right at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It lasted about an hour and a half. And the butterfly left, and they never saw it again. Now, the thing that's, I'm not making this up. The thing that's so cool is people are like, man, you're lying, there's no way. The thing that's so cool, though, is the butterfly only came to Sophia. She was the only one that got to touch this beautiful butterfly. And Sophia is the only one that happens to share the same birthday as Andrea. You see, that story is so powerful because it brings such peace to us to know that on our very lowest moment, on the lowest day of my life when we were laying my wife to rest, at the same time we were celebrating her life at a funeral, she was already hard at work, making sure that our family was going to be taken care of. And who could have known 4 years ago, in the midst of all the tears, that there was so much good that was being planted and so much joy that was going to come 4 years down the road? It was impossible for us to know. But now we can look back and we can see it. You see, my friends, in life, whenever you're faced with those hard times, so many people, they question God, and they're angry, and they're upset, and they think there's no good that could ever come from any tragedy. And I'll admit, sometimes it's hard at the time to see it. But if you give it enough time, and you continue to fight, and you don't quit, and you continue to love and embrace and live life, there will come a time when you will see the bigger picture and realize that we are all such a part of a bigger plan. I want to thank you all for the chance to come back tonight and celebrate. I look around the room and see so many familiar friends and some of my partners from DDOTS and Extension and Farm Bureau and legislators, and just a great family. I loved coming here when I was commissioner, and I appreciate the chance to come back again and just say hello and say thank you for what you're doing. And I know the future of agriculture in Virginia Beach is going to be bright for a long, long time. Carrie, thanks for the invitation. David, congratulations. It's been a great pleasure for us to be here with you tonight. Thank you.
So with that being said, before we let you all go, we should give Mac and Beth a round of applause. Tourism group, please come to Virginia Beach with all your family. Spend a week here. That would help us out. Yeah. With that being said, that concludes our entertainment for tonight in our program. And again, to everybody, thank you for coming. Thanks for the support. We the Ag Department, City of Virginia Beach, Extension, really appreciate everything. Everybody be safe going home. Hope for sun tomorrow. Could rain though, but anyway. God bless you all. Thank you.